How did those isekai stories you like go again, Ivy? Well, I really like the ones where the protagonist wakes up as the villainess. They always start with the untimely death of the protagonist, or at least the reason for their situation. Then, they wake up in a totally different world. They're usually somewhere in a noble estate. The protagonist realizes where they are, and who they are, and most of the time they know what story they're in and how everything goes. And sometimes they're totally unfamiliar with it all. That's how it all starts. And that was a comic I made in December 2024. Can you believe it's been an entire year? Or like kind of an entire year, because by the time this posts, it'll be 2026. But I drew these in advance, so it's probably been a year since then. Today I have redrawn some old OCs from this villainess isekai story, except my protagonist Florence is Eroe Satel, not into any of the guys, and she's going off of her friend Ivy's fandom behavior about the thing, so she doesn't really know the story well, but she just remembers, oh, Ivy ships these two characters, and most of all, Ivy is in love with the villainess, who she is isekai'd as right now. So this all spawned because I was like, what if we had a protagonist who was Eroe, because I'm Eroe, and I wanted an Eroe protagonist to villainess isekai, except I literally will have drawn these OCs like once, and probably never again, but you know, who knows? It's fun to redesign things. And, you know, like, what if Florence was like, I'm going to make over this the hell up, and then has a cool scene where instead of being traditional heiress, no, probably noble lady villainess, she's like kind of masculine and cool, 'cause she's kind of tomboyish in her past life anyways. That's it. On to the designs. I forgot to mention in the original recording, I was inspired to redesign these guys because I watched these Dead Hedge videos. You should watch them, they're really cool. I'm so invested in the freaking OCs. Yeah, back to the video. So I started off with redesigning Florence and Ivy first, of course, in their real world forms, you know, before Florence gets hit by Trunkun, as usual. So we have Florence, she's 17, she's Eroe, and she is sporty, tomboyish, and relaxed, and she's a tennis player in her free time and tends to lean towards a more androgynous or masculine look in terms of fashion. She's GNC as hell. Yeah, she's hard to annoy, and she takes new situations in stride, playing along to whatever scheme others around her come up with. So like, she wouldn't question why you were hiding a body, but she would help you carry it around. She's a real friend like that. But she's also kind of passive and self-sacrificing, so she'd likely more go along with things, or like when problems get too big, she'd rather avoid it or stay on the sidelines. And it's like, girl, you're the protagonist, you need to be an active character. So yeah, she's probably ends up giving a lot of other characters in this lore advice, but then never takes any of it. It's like, girl, what are you doing? Yeah, she honestly just wants to make friends and like not hit any danger flags or like a really bad ending as a villainess, as Ivy has implied to her before, probably. And, you know, she's risking a lot by being here as the star villainess Juno Astoria Fiorenza, who we will get to in the next design. Then we have her best friend Ivy, who is 17, she's bisexual, and she's super energetic and like really determined, hopeless romantic. She's like a shoujo protagonist, maybe even like, whatever, she's like your everyman fun protagonist. Maybe even a shoujo, well actually she's closer to a shoujo protagonist because of the hopeless romantic thing, I think. I don't know, I haven't read a lot of manga or watched a lot of anime in a while. But she wears her heart on her sleeve, and she's always looking forward to the joys in life, like waiting to fall in love and like getting a girlfriend or something. Make magic and joy out of everything. But she is also short-tempered, opinionated, and gets easily worked up. So like, I know she's getting into some online debates. I just know she is. She sees like the worst take ever on her favorite character, and she's like, oh my god, I need to curse this guy with a million plagues. Which honestly, real. And yeah, the two of them literally have just had each other, and they're a fun little duo, you know, until Florence dies and gets isekai'd into Ivy's favorite story. So, you know, rip. Florence's design, I did not change much. I thought it's perfect. I don't need to change it. I like it as it is. But Ivy, I changed a little more because she's a little more ginger in my head, I think. And I like redid her outfit because I thought it needs to be cuter. So I hopped on Pinterest, looked at some twee fashion. And I think she has curly hair now. She has like a kind of a bob, ginger bob thing going on. So yeah. Now, on to the next design, which is the villainess herself, Juno, who Florence gets isekai'd as. I did 2 designs for this one, because I wanted to do her design, you know, as she is originally within the story, or like, I guess, when Florence first becomes her, versus when Florence has kind of gone used to this world, and it's like, I'm gonna do a little makeover, which I don't know how well that slid with their fantasy, medieval-ish, magical public, but you know, I'll figure it out as we go. Or never at all. Who knows? So, original Juno, she's, you know, textbook mean villainess. She's abrasive. She's haughty. She's spoiled. She's, you know, and most of all, she's cruel and conniving. She values status and material goods most of all, and would do anything to hold on to power. And she doesn't really care much for other people, really, only what they can do for her. And she also gets really envious easily, especially of magically talented little peasants who, all in all, should be nothing. That's probably going to be our original protagonist, you know, like Cecily or Cecile or whatever the hell I named her. I don't draw her, but she's in the story. She's in the story. So I put her in her classic dress. Her design's like mostly the same, except I looked at better references for dresses, and I redid her curls rather than making them like classic big ringlets. I just went more realistic, natural, smaller with it. Yeah, less exaggerated. So when we have Florence as Juno, you know, like it gets to some point in the story where she's made friends with enough people, and she's deep enough into this where she's like, you know, sorry out there to Ivy. I hope this doesn't like change the story in back where you are, but I'm tired of the dress and the long hair. My bad. And I give her a really cool princely design because princely designs are cool. And she looks a little bit more like her old self. She's like, yeah, I'm getting into it, getting used to this world, making it a little bit my own, which I think is sweet. Now, apologies in advance for this next character because look, I had to make him because he's gonna be around for a while. Okay, he's probably going to be the first character not Juno, Florence as Juno meets within this story, and he starts out as a side character. In fact, he starts out as your classic maid background character, even though before designing him I got like really into the research and I was like, wait, maids are literally Victorian. So I'm like, wait, why do they always include maids if this meant to be kind of like medieval fantasy world? Oh wait, but they're general nobles and like lords and ladies. But then maids and butlers are like Victorian, and butlers aren't even the equivalent of maids. Butlers are like the bosses of all the male servants. The female equivalent to a butler would be like, oh, I got the Wikipedia page for this, but I can't remember the name. But you know, disregarding that, so here's I'm not sure if it'll have appeared on the screen by now, but here's Sylvian, also known as Marianne. I'm so sorry for dropping your dead name in the canon, bro. But see, him figuring out that he's trans-masc is going to be a part of the story, okay? Because at some point, because I imagine this with like kind of an episodic, we do shenanigan by shenanigans plot. So at some point, Florence will have become friends with Sylvian as Marianne, and you know, like being like, I'm not a mean villainess after all. I love my employees. I'm nice now. I'm nice because I'm an entirely different person. And Marianne's like, wow, I feel like we could be friends. I feel like I could trust in you and confide in you, and well, you know, one day they're gonna be hanging out, and it's just gonna be like, you know, like, doesn't everybody hate being a woman? And it's like, no, no. And Florence, with all her 21st century knowledge, isekai knowledge, is like, I don't think so. So they probably, that fun little episodic shenanigan probably involves them, I don't know, finding a witch and doing magical HRT. Literally, I just came up with that one as I was drawing it. I was like, what if they went to a witch and did magical HRT, you know? And they did magical, and they just gaslit everyone. No, Sylvian was always a guy. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, I'm promoting him to be my personal butler, my right-hand man, because I think he's cool. We're friends, man. So, yeah, that's what their plot would be. So Sylvian starts out as, you know, just a shy side character, terrified of Juno Florence. But, you know, Florence builds up trust with other people around here, and he becomes relevant. They're like, you know, when Florence doesn't have Ivy anymore, so now we've got Sylvian, and he's the GOAT, man. And, you know, I think after his magical transition, he'd probably get a little more confident, because he's just that's like a classic, like, kind of shy, soft-spoken character, but he's still, like, kind of reserved even afterwards. But I think he'd gain a little more confidence in himself, and he's like, hey, we need to knock that nonsense out of you guys. Or like when Florence is doubting herself, it's like, hey girl, don't think like that. You've been supporting me, I'm going to support you. And I'm like, oh, that's really nice. Now the final part, I originally was not going to include this because these designs aren't finished and I haven't touched them in like a week. So don't expect this one to come up with like full colors and line art and whatever. But I needed to include these two guys because there's going to be more men in this. I was going to get really excited designing a bunch of tropey men for this, but then I got like art blocked and I was like, oh no. So I stopped drawing for a little while and I started playing a lot of TADC gunfight on Roblox. That's what happened. And then went back to like fan art again. So who knows about these two. I was looking at a lot of art for this on Pinterest, but enough of that. Here's some of the two main guys who I predict they will have their gay subplot somewhere in this. I predict that. Also because these are going to be the two guys where Florence first looks at them and it's like, oh wait, I remember these two. I'm pretty sure they're like gay for each other. They weren't gay for each other. They actually kind of hate each other. But Florence remembers them as being gay for each other because Ivy shipped them. So that's literally her extent of the knowledge. And it's going to be really played up. It would be played up as a joke. And I think it would be really funny. Yeah. First guy here in the fancy furs and whatever, my Cold Duke, or well, I'm not sure he'd be Cold Duke of the North. I don't know. I actually haven't read like that much Reborn Isekai, funnily enough, but I like the trope a lot. I like them. He's cold, he's temperamental, and he's really prickly, and he's the main guy. He'd be like Juno's arranged husband who doesn't even like her very much, probably because in the original story, she's also mean to him. She probably uses him for like stats or whatever. I have no clue, but he doesn't like anyone at all, actually. So he starts as kind of a douche. Like at the start of the story, it's like, oh, nobody likes this guy, not even the readers. Like, we don't like him. And he's always like in his own head about things, you know? He's really actually self-punishing and judgmental of himself. And he's probably got that like internalized homophobia thing going on. But like it looks like he's also really judgmental of everyone else. It's like, no, he just has like really high standards or something like that. But yeah. He's the fiance and he's mean, but I'm sure like maybe a third, maybe halfway to the story, it's at some point we get to a point where, hey, we inducted him into the main friend group, so now you're here with Juno and Sylvian and whoever else she's gathered in her merry band of being reborn. So, second guy I'm drawing. His name is... Oh my god, I just realized I didn't drop the name of the arranged husband. His name is Callahan. Like the guy in Legally Blonde. The next guy is Alfred. He's Alfie. And if I had to describe him in like a classic dead trope a la Otome game, he'd be the Cinderella guy. I don't know. I think he would. Juno's royal family or noble family as well as Alfie's are like closely aligned, so they're kind of childhood friends, but they're actually childhood enemies because original Juno was really mean to him. He was like her punching bag, and there'd probably be like a really big event that really like drove the wedge in. Like she ruined his science fair experiment. Oh wait, that's just Gravity Falls. Something like that. Like she ruined his life and how he hates her. So when Florence comes along, it's like, oh, wait, so we're meant to have known each other. Hi. And Alfie's like, piss off. It's like, whoa, what did I do to this guy? Well, Florence, you didn't do anything, but Juno did do something. So now you have to fix the problem. I'm so sorry, girl. Well, it's not like she has to fix the problem, but she wants to because Florence wants to be friends with people. She wants to be nice, so she will. So, you know, he's kind of insecure and paranoid of betrayal because of Juno. Gah! So he comes off as really like defensive, but he's a sweetie pie. He's actually a sweetie pie, trust. So yeah, and then at some point Alfie and Callahan will have like a yaoi subplot in there. I don't know how, but they will, trust me. So that's them. Now, that's all the designs I have for now. There's going to be more men, like the eccentric genius Maverick Riddle in my notes, because I found out that characters like Pinkie Pie and Maddie Hatter have a trope name on what is it called? TV tropes, called like Cloud Cuckoo Lander type characters. So I wanted him in there. I think he'd be the Genki guy. I think he would. And he's kind of eccentric and weird, but he doesn't have a design. He's just in my notes. And then there's probably gonna be more men. But yeah, that's Just Call Me the Villainess, which I realized I didn't name drop at the start. That's the name of the story. Just Call Me the Villainess. I needed it to be kind of long, but not too long. So yeah, it'd have an episodic plot, and Florence would pick up more and more people across the friend group, and there's more lore. Ivy would make a reappearance. It's like, well, you made Ivy, but she only appears at the start, or like throughout the story, in reference to Florence, because Florence will remember her friend from when she was alive, and it's like, well, actually, she does appear in the story later. But that's a secret for if I design more of this. But yeah, if you want more, you can tell me in the comments, or if you don't want more, don't tell me. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Bye!